Soul Series, the Law of 3-7. It is said that there exists a law of 3-7 in this universe. In the entire universe, 70% has not transformed into matter, and only 30% has transformed into matter. Likewise, everything on this earth is composed according to the 3-7 law, with water making up 70% and the remainder 30%. Our bodies are also composed of 70% water, with the remaining 30% being other substances. Thus, everything is made according to the great natural law of 3-7, and by understanding this law, we can easily navigate through life. Now let's see how the 3-7 law can be wisely applied to human relationships. According to the law of nature, when someone who is 70% at fault reflects on their mistakes before apologizing to the person who is 30% at fault, things tend to resolve more smoothly. How can we identify who is 70% at fault? The criterion is whoever feels more distress or pain in a given situation. For instance, when a child or teenager disobeys or shows annoyance to their parents, it indicates that the parents might be seeing the results of their upbringing, causing them deep distress and pain. In this case, it can be considered that the parents are 70% at fault and the child 30%. Therefore, when the parent who is more at fault reflects and approaches the child will likely reflect as well. However, if the parent who is more at fault fails to recognize their mistakes and scolds the child instead, the problem will only worsen and the pain will revisit. As another example, let's say in a marriage, one partner cheats and leaves the home. The infidelity often stems from not fulfilling duties within the household, leading one partner to drift away. The wrongful acts could range from being too controlling to neglecting the other. These small issues accumulate over time, especially when there is no collective effort towards harmony, leading to separation. This applies not only to couples but also to families. It might be difficult to accept, but the person left behind in the home often bears 70% of the fault. Therefore, the more distressed person should introspect and make efforts to rectify their mistakes. When they approach the other with genuine change, it prompts the other to reflect as well. Conversely, if they respond with anger and resentment, the situation deteriorates. It's often the case that the one making life difficult also experiences difficulty. If the person is struggling, it likely indicates their own faults. While the one cheating might seem less at fault, they still carry 30% of the blame. If the person who is 70% at fault reflects and makes efforts to correct their ways, the estranged partner might return over time. People often hide their flaws at the beginning of a relationship, focusing on the good. As time goes by, flaws become apparent, just as the person who cheated will start seeing flaws in their new partner. When the person at home acknowledges and works on these flaws, it may lead to reconciliation. We live on earth, interconnected through debts of karma, repaying these to grow our souls. Families, the closest units, are formed by those owing the most debts to each other. To live well and fulfill our purpose on earth, we must help and coexist harmoniously, repaying these debts of action and emotion. Repaying this debt means to love, protect, and care for one another. The bond between parents and children is such that parents owe 70% of the debt, making the relationship. The child holds a 30% debt. The one with the larger debt should repay it first, ensuring the balance of karma is maintained. If not repaid, the child naturally won't feel the obligation to repay in adulthood. In marital relationships, it is often the husband with more debt who must first love and protect his wife, moving her heart. Then, witnessing these acts, the wife will devote herself and dedicate her life in return. Essentially, the one with 70% of the debt must initiate positive actions, so that the one holding 30% will eventually be inspired to also share their debt. In summary, the 3-7 law applies universally to all life situations. Whenever an issue arises, if you find yourself more distressed or pained than the other, it likely indicates that you're more at fault. By recognizing this, reflecting, and humbly addressing the situation, you can navigate it wisely. Understanding that the main purpose behind life's events is not to bring suffering, but to enlighten us about our ignorance or mistakes, we can face challenges with less hardship. The law of 3-7, as described, is a conceptual framework that suggests a universal pattern of distribution where 70% is unmanifested or passive and 30% is manifested or active. Applied to various aspects of life and existence, this law proposes that a majority of the universe, as well as water in our bodies and on Earth, aligns with this proportion. From a mentor's perspective, the practical application of this principle is particularly emphasized in human relationships and personal growth. The idea is that in any conflict or challenge, the party that holds the larger share of distress or responsibility, 70%, should take the initiative in reflecting and rectifying the situation. This approach is seen as a path to smoother resolution and better understanding between parties involved. In family dynamics, for instance, parents might bear a larger part of responsibility for their child's behavior, suggesting a need for parental introspection and action. Similarly, in relationships like marriage, the partner who has contributed more significantly to an issue should work towards reconciliation and change. However, this law is not just about blame. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of actions and consequences, and using this understanding to foster harmony and growth. It encourages individuals to look inward, acknowledge their part in conflicts, and take proactive steps towards resolution and improvement. By acknowledging and addressing the larger share of debt or responsibility one holds in any given situation, individuals can not only resolve conflicts more effectively but also contribute to their personal growth and the well-being of their relationships. It's a call for empathy, understanding, and action, rooted in the belief that recognizing and working on one's mistakes leads to better outcomes in personal development. This law serves as a guide for navigating life's challenges with wisdom and compassion, promoting a cycle of positive change and improvement in various aspects of life.